Hi, my name is Ryan Husted, and I'm the Warning Coordination Meteorologist at the National Weather Service here in Nashville, Tennessee. So how many days do you have a shower or thunderstorm and wonder, how much rain did I get? Well, today we're going to work to build a rain gauge together so that you know the next time it rains. This is something that you can do at home with supplies you can gather around the house. Let's go through it. So first, what do you need? We need a 2-liter. It could be another type of bottle too, but 2-liter works best for our purposes. The next thing we'll need is a box cutter, X-Acto knife, or scissors. Make sure you have an adult supervising this part of the project. We'll need some masking tape, duct tape, painter's tape. That'll work fine as well. A permanent marker. You'll need some clips, whether it's paper clips or these clips that we have here. You'll need a ruler. Something to weigh down your rain gauge. Here I have some rocks that I gathered from the flower bed outside. And then a pitcher for water. And you'll need to add water before each rain. And I'll explain why here in a little bit. So now that we have our supplies, let's build our rain gauge. The first step is to get a 2-liter bottle. I got a soda bottle here from Kroger this morning. I've already taken the label off, but you'll need to take the label off. Now, you'll see there's still a little bit of label and glue here. If you want to try to get that off, that's fine. I'm choosing to leave it because we're going to cover it up with the masking tape anyways, so that we know how much rain we received. The next step is we want to cut off the top of the 2-liter bottle. This will be our funnel. We're going to turn it upside down so that it catches the rain and it drips into the gauge. So first, we don't need a cap anymore. That's done. Now we're going to make our funnel. So I'm going to take the box cutter here and I'm going to pick a point and I'm just going to cut our bottle across the top. Okay, the next thing we need to do with the bottle here, the main portion of the bottle, is we want to find where our zero line is, or where we want to start measuring our rainfall. So looking at this bottle here, there's a nice ring on the bottom. And I'm going to choose that as my zero line. So before the rain starts, this is where I know to start measuring our accumulation. So once I have the zero line, what we're going to do is we're going to put some masking tape on the side of the bottle. And this is what we're going to use to make our markings so that we know how much rain. Now for the masking tape, you want to line it up on the bottom, right at your zero line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, when we make our markings with the ruler, that's where we want to make sure we're consistent with where we put our, if I could do it right, this is where we want to be consistent, where we put our markings from. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't take the glue off. And that's okay because I'm covering it up with the masking tape because we don't need to see through the masking tape. We just need to see beside the masking tape. So I have my masking tape on the gauge now. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. I could have already done this with scissors if I had pre-planned a little more. Okay. So now, we don't need this anymore, so we can put our cutting device away. And now we have our nice strip of tape on the side, and this is what we're going to use to make our markings for how many inches of rain we've received. Now, take your ruler and line it up with your zero line. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a mark where zero is, so we know where to begin our measurement. So I'm going to line up the ruler on that ring at the bottom of the bottle that we talked about initially. I'm going to make sure it's straight, and I'm going to do a little mark here for 0. Now I'm going to start marking the side of the tape here and making my measurements by inch increments. Now you can do smaller if you'd like. I'm using a pretty wide tipped permanent marker, so I'm not going to do too many, but you can easily make all the markings for 1/10 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, however you want to make your gauge so that you can read it accurately. So I'm going to go by every 1/2 inch. I'm going to make a mark. So now I have my amounts on the side. Now I'm going to label those. So we're going to put a 0 at the bottom. So now I have labeled my rain gauge. Okay, now we're ready to start measuring. Now, you can put this out in your yard. Make sure you consider where that you put it. You don't want to put it under a tree. You kind of want it in an open area, not next to a fence. Again, a tree, a garden, next to your house, because that'll impact how much rain is actually being caught by this gauge. To make it the most accurate, you want to put it in an open area. Now, since it will be outside, we know thunderstorms here or anywhere can produce wind. So we want to weigh it down a little. So our next step is to put some rock. Again, this is just pebbles. You could use pea pebble, garden rock, rock from your driveway, whatever it is. And I'm going to weigh down my gauge with these rocks here. I'm going to go up to my 0 line with the rocks. Let me see, just a little more, I believe. I'm going to shake it a little to make it as even as I can. It looks like I went a little over. That's okay. We can always take some out. Okay. That looks like it's all about below our 0 line. So now the gauge has a little weight. We're done with our rocks. The next step in preparing our gauge, so you'll want to do this a little ahead of the rain. Don't feel like you have to run out there as a thunderstorm is approaching to do this step. But what we want to do is add water to get it up to our 0 line so we have that consistent start. So right about there, the water is up to my 0. So now any water after this, I know I'm not filling cracks in the rocks up. So this is our true 0, and we're ready to start catching our rain. The final step here is we want to take our funnel and we want to put it into our gauge. And to make sure it doesn't shift or move whenever we are measuring our rain, I'm going to put some clips on it. See, it just fell down into my gauge there. That would have led to an inaccurate measurement. So I'm going to put my clips on the gauge. And we're ready to catch some rain. Okay, now the final step is put it outside, let it rain. And that is how you make a rain gauge and use your rain gauge. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at the National Weather Service office. And thank you for joining today.